The Loch Ness Monster, the night Nessie walked the road. In the shadowed highlands of Scotland lies one of Earth's most enduring enigmas. A creature sighting whispered about for nearly a century. A legend that refuses to die. The Loch Ness Monster, affectionately known as Nessie, is the crown jewel of all cryptids. She's been called a prehistoric survivor, a spirit of the deep, a trick of the eye, and even a hoax, but no matter how many times skeptics try to bury the story, she surfaces again, gliding through foggy waters, caught in the corner of a camera lens, or echoing through a terrified eyewitness account. But tonight, we are not talking about a distant shape in the mist. We are not talking about grainy photos or sonar blips. This is the story of the night Nessie came onto land. And of the man who swore, until the day he died, that he saw the monster of Loch Ness cross the road, carrying a ship in its jaws. For centuries, the waters of Loch Ness have inspired wonder and dread. The loch itself is an abyss, deeper than the North Sea, shrouded in silt and shadow, with visibility so poor it's been called a natural void. Some say that's why Nessie can hide so easily. The loch swallows light, sound, and secrets. Reports of strange creatures here go back as far as the 6th century. Saint Columba himself is said to have encountered a water beast in the river Ness, ordering it to retreat in the name of God. The creature obeyed. Fast forward to 1933. A new road was built along the loch shore, and with it came sightings. Cars full of travelers reported a great dark form rolling through the water, something alive, something watching. Then came the infamous surgeon's photograph, that elegant, serpent-like neck rising from the lake's surface, later debunked, perhaps, but the legend by then had already taken root. Since then, Nessie's been called everything from a plesiosaur to a giant eel. But among all those reports, one stands apart, one so bizarre and terrifying that even many Nessie believers hesitate to repeat it aloud. The Dawes Road Encounter. It was a cold, rain-soaked night in April of 1934, just months before the surgeon's photograph made headlines. A local farmer named Alexander McLean was driving back from Inverness toward his home near Foyers. His truck was old, rattling, and nearly out of petrol. The road hugged the loch closely, no lights, just moonlight filtered through clouds and mist. He could hear the waves lapping faintly below the cliffside to his left. Around midnight, as he rounded a narrow bend near Ardrey, his headlights caught something strange. At first, it looked like a fallen tree across the road. A massive, wet shape blocking his path. He slowed the truck, squinting through the rain. Then the shape moved. A long, serpentine neck rose up, glistening, gliding, ending in a small, angular head, almost reptilian but not quite. Its eyes reflected yellow in the light, not like an animal's, but like two lanterns in the fog. And dangling from its jaws was something limp and white. At first, McLean thought it was a bundle of cloth. But then, he saw a sheep's leg twist lifelessly in the creature's mouth. Frozen with terror, he sat motionless. His headlights illuminated the creature's sleek, dark skin, almost black but with hints of green and grey, like wet slate. Steam rose from its body as the rain hit it. Its skin rippled with muscles as it shifted its weight, heavy, deliberate, ancient. The thing was enormous. Its body stretched out of the light and into darkness, 6, maybe 8 meters long, with flipper-like limbs pressing into the wet asphalt. Each movement was slow but powerful, the road crunching beneath it. Then, it turned its head. And for one impossible moment, Alexander McLean looked directly into Nessie's eyes. He later said they were intelligent. Old. The kind of ice that had seen the rise and fall of mountains, the turning of ages, and the slow, crawling drift of time itself. Then, as if remembering it didn't belong there, the creature turned again, dragging its body toward the edge of the road. The ship still hung from its mouth, its wood dark with blood. It moved into the brush, and with a thunderous splash, it was gone. The lock swallowed it whole. Silence returned, broken only by the rain. McLean sat in his truck for nearly 10 minutes before his body remembered how to breathe. He described shaking uncontrollably, convinced he had seen the devil himself. The next morning, he told the police in Inverness. They laughed. Said he'd had too much whiskey, or maybe seen a large seal. But others listened. Farmers near Dawes reported missing sheep that same night, one flock scattered, blood in the grass near the shore. And strange, white drag marks leading from the fields down to the lock's edge. When investigators visited, they found nothing, only flattened reeds, broken branches, and an uneasy quiet over the water. McLean refused to drive that road again after dark. He sold his farm a year later and moved to Glasgow. He told his story to anyone who'd listen the same way every time, never changing a detail. And though official records brushed it off as unverified, locals whispered that the Dawes Road had been cursed ever since. Truckers who passed it at night said their engines would stutter, headlights would flicker, and sometimes, you could hear the sound of splashing and low, deep breathing from the black water below. So what did Alexander McLean really see that night? Some say Nessie isn't a creature at all, but a manifestation. A projection of something older, tied to the loch's ancient energies. After all, Loch Ness sits on a massive geological fault line, constantly shifting, rumbling beneath the surface. Could electromagnetic activity create phenomena that distort perception? Others insist the encounter was proof that Nessie is flesh and blood, a surviving member of an unknown aquatic species, maybe even a descendant of prehistoric plesiosaurs that adapted over time. The ship in its jaws adds a chilling realism. It wasn't performing for cameras, it was feeding. In 2003, sonar readings picked up a massive moving ship near Ardrey, roughly the same area where McLean made his report. Divers sent down cameras, and though they found nothing clear, they did record a low-frequency vibration, almost like the heartbeat of something alive deep in the black water. Skeptics, of course, dismiss it all, suggesting it was an otter, a large seal, or an illusion of fog and fear. But even they can't explain the scale, the detail, or the consistency of the reports. Whatever Nessie is, or was, something in that loch still moves, unseen. And sometimes, it comes ashore. To this day, locals around Loch Ness still leave offerings of bread or flowers on the shore, not out of belief, but out of respect. Respect for what the water hides. Respect for what might still rise from its depth when the mist rolls low and the moon glows white. Maybe the Loch Ness monster isn't a monster at all, but a guardian, or a remnant, or something older than the word fear itself. But if you ever find yourself driving the Dawes Road on a rainy Scottish night, and your headlights catch something glistening across the pavement ahead, don't stop. Don't look too long. And whatever you do, don't open your door. Because sometimes, legends don't stay in the water. You've been watching Mysteries from the Orb. If you enjoyed this tale of the Loch Ness Monster, the night Nessie walked the road, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, so you never miss the next mystery waiting beyond the veil.